bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to laugh and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank, misfortune seemed his lot. We got into a drifted bank, and then we got upside. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, and oh, what fun it is to be when we bring in the sales professionals, the payment sales professionals, from the left-hand side of your screen in what I'm going to guess is probably a snow. I haven't asked this question, Rich. I'm going to assume there's a little bit of snow on the ground in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Is there any snow, Mr. Danny Shard? How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back on the high five. I'll tell you that. It's been a while. We've got some snow on the high country, and we're actually expecting to get a lot this weekend. So skiing is just right around the corner. We're excited about the wintertime here.
Well, and it's, the last day of November as we're recording this, we're talking about holiday sales, and we're talking about the winter coming in. Of course, we think about it being warm and 75 and wearing a shirt that says oysters. Mr. Brian Linke, how is life in Tampa?
First of all, let me just say that Christmas music, Nate, has come a long way, and I'm not sure where you had to go get that, but that was, I'm still humming it in my head. I know that. Life in Tampa, the weather here, last 2 days, I get out and walk every morning now because of my shoulder thing. I can't do a whole lot else. So, but I've been in a hoodie, a vest, gloves with the hood up. I mean, it was, I think it was 38 the other day when I went out. And crazy thing is when the sun comes up, the temperature, it's crazy how warm it gets. But like today, like right now, it's got to be 73, 74, not a cloud in the sky, no humidity. I mean, it's just absolutely perfect.
That's what we love to hear. And speaking of perfect, it's this time of year when we need to start thinking about what are we going to do for the next month? We're just going to pack it all in, not do anything. We're not going to, no. We are going to come up with 5 sales strategies for the holidays. There's a lot more, but we're the high 5 and we do things in 5. And to start out today, we are going to specifically talk about how we can do emergency triage during this time, and that can be a sales strategy. Let's be honest. Things happen, and suddenly credit card processing isn't working. Whether it's our systems go down, third-party systems go down, it all happens. It happened to Square just this past weekend, one of our major competitors. Danny, what are things that we can do, sales partners that are professionals in this industry, to help triage those emergencies and be the first call or at least the second call to try to help our sales process during this time of year? What are things that we can do specifically to be on top of the mind, being able to help them? And what are things that we can provide real help when they want to, when systems go down, they can't process cards during this very profitable time for so many of our businesses?
Yeah, this is a really important subject. And this is actually the time of year that I've always talked about planting seeds, right? Where we're planting seeds with merchants, with potential customers, with referral partners, on what we can do for them now or next year. But one of the things that you can do in your local community, if you've tried to get out there and tried to get business, you've got some, you haven't gotten all, but you really want to make sure everybody knows that you're the payment processing professional, right? That you can actually get them set up in an emergency, be a backup, or be the primary. We actually had somebody here locally where I live who actually works with us, and they have blasted on all of the restaurant message boards on Facebook, and they've blasted out in several different things like that. They've made some things go out through the Chamber of Commerce that is all about this exact thing. Like, hey, if you run into any issues accepting credit card payments with your business, contact me. We'll get you set up within an hour or two. That's huge. And he's actually already gotten some business from it. So really, it's just about letting people know that you're out there, know that you exist, and that you're local, and that you're going to be there to help them if they have something come up during this holiday season. And I think that as a business owner, that's one of the things that they all have in the back of their mind, and that scares them the most, is they need to be able to take payments, right? They need to be able to have a backup. And if you can do that, and that can be your foot in the door, might be amazed at the amount of business that you get from it in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, if you're the first call when somebody has an issue, you have a great opportunity, one, to continue that business. If you already have them, you're going to be able to help the problem solve them. True. You don't want them calling a competitor. But if you're not getting their business and they can't get a hold of their agent, or can't get a hold of the company, or they've been sitting on hold for an hour, and they can get you and you answer the call, it's a great way to have great holiday sales, to be able to continue moving forward. And, certainly this is a place where you want to go to places that are high amounts of high amounts of customers coming through during this time of year. Restaurants, retail places, and also things that are probably going to be able to go through and the underwriting. Don't promise a gun shop that you're going to be able to get them approved in an hour. That's not going to happen. But there are a lot of restaurants, there are a lot of auto approvals that are going to happen on some of these low risk models that they're making a lot of money. They've turned from red to black, and that's what Black Friday is. Now, Brian, we're going to talk specifically about not just emergency triage, but what about current customers and those who are you already with you? What can you do with your current customers that are already processing with you during this time, Brian, to be able to propel your portfolio, to grow your business in the month where a lot of people are not going to make a lot of changes in the month of December?
Well, I think as a salesperson, I think one of a lost art, in my opinion, is relationship building, and keeping those relationships with your merchants. And I think it goes such a long way. And I think for whatever reason, a lot of sales agents are I don't know if they're scared, to get them back in front of their merchants or whatever. But to take the month of December, right? I mean, today's November the 30th, dude. Take the month of December. It's going to be slower normally to sign accounts. And go visit each and every one of your local merchants, and merchants that aren't local. Get on the phone, just tell them you're thinking about them. I actually just did it just now with about 5. I thought to myself, you know what? I haven't talked to these people in a while. And I dialed the phone and I just said, hey, just want to let you know I'm thinking about you. I know you have my number. It's a crazy time of year. If you need me, call me. I mean, the phone call lasted literally less than a minute. And I think it just goes such a long way of keeping merchants. And in this business, the way Paper-Tech pays, with our true up, our true up bonuses, and the multiple that we pay, keeping merchants on for a lengthy period of time is definitely a huge money maker for people that are getting the bonus. And by going out and seeing your people, touching base with them, having them. Now, again, I think you have to be careful, and Danny and I have talked about, overzealous, overdoing it, okay? They don't want you to hang out for, I don't think, because they're probably busy, but just to kind of stop in just for a second, make the quick phone call, and I just think it goes a really long way.
It does, and I think it provides you an opportunity this time of year to then, as you provide one of the things, obviously going to the businesses, maybe some of them you can actually are a customer of and you can do that. but eventually at the end of the year, asking them for referrals and asking them to add you to some of their friends' businesses as they can do a warm referral over. So that gives us, we're going to make sure that we're there. We're the number one call in emergency. We're going to be working with our current customers, make sure we're maximizing the profit and maximizing the opportunity for referrals when it comes to that. And third, we're going to make sure that we think outside the box. We've been talking about this for a long time, Danny, and there are a few. We have the full suite between Paytrace and ChargeZoom and other products. We have the full suite of products to be able to serve B2B. But I don't know, maybe I'll let you fill in what you think, but I don't feel like there are many of our partners that are focusing on this and seeing how great the opportunity is. And when it comes to the month of December, a lot of things don't change for most B2B companies, except for if they're coming in and their fiscal year is the same as a calendar year. A really easy place for them to make a change on how they take payments is right at the end of the month, as December 31st to January 1st, as they make a change. Why would B2B be something you could focus on in the month of December? And why should our partners think about B2B?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's definitely not as sensitive of a time for B2B. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Usually B2B merchants are kind of slowing down this time of year. And starting to prep for next year, right? And that also includes looking at things like their processes, seeing if they've got the solutions that make them the most efficient, the payments that they're actually, or the fees that they're paying for payments. All of this actually is something that they're looking at right now. So approaching these merchants is ideal this time of year. And we've got a lot of partners that focus on B2B, but you're right, Nate, not nearly enough. With the solutions that we have that do the automated level 2 and level 3 optimization, that's what these businesses want, right? And B2B, I can't tell you enough how easy it can be to implement and how little that you'll hear from these merchants, because they're using technology that is a virtual terminal, that's recurring billing and things like that, invoicing and stuff. And it's not nearly as fragile as point of sale systems and those card present hospitality retail environments that we typically cater to for the most part. So right now, I mean, like you said, Nate, looking for those referral partners, planting seeds with merchants, talking to B2B merchants, right, that are not getting hit nearly as much. And they're going to be more open to make changes as we go towards the end of the year and starting 2024. Now's the time to really start talking to them. And if you need help with these conversations, even how to approach them, the language to speak, talking about different pricing scenarios, that level 2 and level 3 that I was talking about, all of this, it's a different conversation than what we're typically used to. We're not going in for the most part and having an edge dual pricing conversation, although that is something that should be offered to them to help them offset some of their processing fees. But let us help you, right? Reach out. Let's talk about some opportunities that you've got so we can help you close some of these going into the new year.
So you're not only working out with B2B, but specifically, like what Danny just said, you may introduce them to surcharging, to some other, pricing models. We'll call them differential, some dual pricing, some cash discount. There are some opportunities. And that is true, I think, with every business that's doing business in January or in December. I think it's great to go on January 1st or 5th and say, what might have been, nice. Brian Linke, if, you can walk in and say, hey, you just paid $4,000 or $8,000 this last month. Because a lot of places will do the most profit in December. And January 1st, their processor is going to pull out money, the largest amount they pull out a year. What is it to walk in and say, hey, Brian, what would you do to be able to walk in and tell partners they can move to edge pricing, dual pricing?
I think this is something that again is a lost. Interchange Plus pricing, tiered pricing is. I don't know what the percentages are that Danny probably would know of our current customers, our current merchants, but. I think the easiest thing to do, and we, offer a free analysis for every single merchant that we have. If you have a merchant that is on Interchange Plus pricing, and they've given you've tried, you've talked to them, you've talked to them, they're not comfortable. They don't like the people at the counter saying, oh, this guy charges 4%. I get it. Nobody likes that, right? Thing is, if you do the business acumen, if you break it down on a piece of paper or on a napkin sitting there, I mean, it's a no-brainer to do it, right? But like a lot of people don't want to do that. But I can tell you, we do an analysis for every single one of our merchants. So by sending in an email to our sales team at payprotect.com and getting them to do an analysis for your merchant who's currently not on cash discounting, and just walking into their saying, hey, shake their hand, buy something, sit down at the table and say, hey, you know what? When you have a minute, can you I just want you to take a look at this. No big deal. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and walk out. I think, and then follow up, after the new year. I think that's something that, again, it takes a little bit of effort, but can pay big dividends in the end.
There are a lot of businesses. I think the last number I've seen, somewhere around 11% of businesses in the U.S. now are using some type of differential processing. That's a great thing. That means 89% of brick and mortar stores across the United States are still on probably tiered, most likely interchange plus, sometimes flat rate with the squares. But they can be told they might have been $4,000, $8,000 richer in December or January 1st if they hadn't. So I think it's a great thing to be talking about both with your current customers. Let's make sure that no one else is walking in and telling them, hey, you should make a change. And then the customers that you haven't had that are not on some type of differential pricing, they're not charging a different price for card and cash, and they're not optimizing their revenue to be able to turn into profit. It's a great way to start a conversation, because I think every business owner, when they see that big number come out, we all love seeing the big numbers come in. We hate seeing the big numbers go out. Lastly,
Nate, business acumen, how much money are they making on I always use a liquor, like on a $10 six pack. What are you making? $2? Okay, well, you're paying $2,000 in processing fees. Well, how many of those $2 people have to say they're not coming back in order for you to turn a profit? I mean, that's the business acumen.
Yep, it is.
The personal acumen is obviously you don't want anybody to say, oh, I'm not going to pay this 40 cents for this, this 40 cents extra. I get it. I mean, that's an uncomfortable thing. But if you break it down in a business acumen, it's a no-brainer.
Absolute no-brainer. You're right. So, and the last topic we've talked about specifically, making sure that you are ready to be the emergency triage for the next several weeks as people, it's a crisis mode when they get it. So that you want to take those phone calls and make sure that they're processing during their busiest time of the year. You want to make sure that you're going out to your current customers and showing the love and getting those referrals and making sure later that we talked about what might have been that they're not on cash discount. They're not on Edge yet. They're not on dual pricing. And then next you want to let's think a little bit about the B2B. Talk and call Danny and his team and try to learn a little more about PayTrace, learn a little more about level 2, level 3, and make sure you're in those conversations during the month of December. It's really a 12-month conversation you should be in, but maybe focus on it during the month of December. Then you're going to make sure that all your partners know what might have been, or all your merchants might know what might have been if they had been on that dual pricing, how much they can take. And then you want to make sure that they are ready for end of the year reporting. And this is something you can work on right now, because what's going to happen in a month is a lot of these merchants who have their busiest months in November and December have to start putting all that reporting together and start paying attention to all those merchants who have old looking or no point of sale systems, and they really should have something that's modern and something like one of the POS Pros systems that you can put in there, whether it's a restaurant or a hospitality or a retail solution. If they go with solutions, all of our solutions do pretty much push the button and create year-end reporting, make their taxes easier, make all those reports maybe they have to give to their investors, all the things that they need to do. You can make it so much easier. And that's something to learn about over the next couple of weeks and start thinking, okay, what systems would I just need to know the basics of what those reports look like? Reach out to the POS Pros. This is a time when they're not as busy with demos, and they'll be able to walk you through some of those reportings. Learn about year-end reporting and how our systems handle it and how it makes their life really easy, because for those first 4 to 6 weeks after the end of the year, you'll see all those people who hate doing the business. They didn't get into selling shoes because they loved doing reporting. They love selling shoes. And if you can provide them a way to cut that down from 60 hours to 10 hours because you provide a solution and help meet that pain point, you can prepare in December so you sell more in January and February. And those are our 5 sales tips I hear on the High Five. Mr. Brian Linke, as we go into the holiday season, we're in the holiday season right now. Tomorrow, the calendar turns from November to December. What do you remember of 30 plus year career in sales, what keeps you motivated in December, and what can you encourage our partners with to make sure they're motivated to actually succeed and not just take the whole month off in the month of December?
December can be a funny month, right? I mean, it can be really, really good for some and really, really bad for others. So, take the weekend, start thinking about some of your merchants, and who does the most business, and go, go after those types of businesses, because there are a lot of businesses that really look forward to the month of December, and there are a lot of businesses that close the last 2 weeks, right? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, back in the old days, 1985, nobody was closing, but today, people take advantage of the fact that it's going to be slow, so they close the last 2 weeks. But you need to get out there, especially these 2 weeks. Start thinking about the types of businesses that are currently doing really, really well, and go after those types of businesses.
And Mr. Danny Shard, Jim Collins always says the enemy to great is good. And what's the difference between good partners and great sales partners? What makes them and sets them apart with how they handle December and turns their, we have a lot of good partners. What would be able to help them turn into great partners?
Yeah, I mean, well, like Brian said it best. I mean, these are tricky months, and I think, historically we've always seen people try to identify specific features that are going to cater to merchants so they can close business now. And I'm definitely not going to stray away from that, but I'm going to talk to you about, like what I said before, and planting seeds. And Nate, you brought up a really big thing there with the reporting and ways to make them more efficient. And merchants are looking at that right now, right? As they get into their end of the year, they're prepping for the increase in sales that they're going to have as they get closer to the holiday. But they're also prepping for January and prepping for the end of the year and the beginning of the next year, and kind of what that looks like. And really, a lot of that's going to be looking at their reporting, looking at their processes, looking at the systems that they're using, and seeing how they can be more efficient, right? So planting some of those seeds, talking to merchants about that, and how what they're currently doing is archaic, can really kind of help you just kind of put it in their ear and set you up to get that business come the start of the year. But leverage some emergency backups, right? I mean, it's okay to use that to get a foot in the door with these merchants. But like Brian said, start thinking about it. It's not necessarily viewed as not a successful December if you don't close any deals, but it won't be if you don't plant enough seeds and you don't have a lot leading into next year. So work smarter and not harder as you get into these holiday months, and it's an odd time, and just try to take advantage of it as best you can.
Love it. On behalf of Danny Shard, Brian Linke, I'm Nate Manahan. This has been another High Five, first one in a while, as we've talked about the 5 sales strategies that you can actually blow out December, make it the best December ever. We're so thankful you watched all the way through. Don't make sure that you're not sitting January 1st wondering for yourself, but you are knowing that you have worked hard, and I like what Danny said, work smarter, not harder. We're all going to all do that together. Thanks, everybody. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next time on the High Five.
Go have some oysters.
Let's
Let's eat some.